5-3. 5-3 is still about solving equations, okay, but it's using the distributive property. So our goal at the end of the video is still to be able to solve equations, but this time to add a little distributing in there, okay? So it says a collector has a box of 32 figurines. The value of each figurine increased by 232 over the past year. The box of figurines is now worth $114.24. What was the original cost, X, of one figurine? The original cost of one figurine was, okay, there's a whole lot of blanks over here that we need to fill in with stuff. And how do we know where that stuff goes? We're just going to have to think through the problem. Okay, so the box of figurines is now worth $114.24. Okay, something tells me that that is a total, so I'm going to write it in there. Okay, a collector has a box of 32 figurines. Okay, anytime it says something that someone has something of the exact multiple of the exact same thing, that's going to be where a distributing instance is going to come into play. Okay, then we had the original cost of the figurines was X, and they increased each of them by 232 over the last year. What was the original cost of the figurine? All right, well, we have our equation set up now. Now we need to think back to that don't call after midnight, right? Distribute, comb, add, slash, subtract, multiply, slash, divide. That's the order we're going to do these in. Okay, now we have distributing. That's an option, so we got to do that first. So we have 32 times X. That's what we're doing when we're distributing. Then we have 32 times 2.32, and this is still 114.24. We don't have to distribute to that because it's not in the parentheses. All right, so we have 32 times X. Well, that's 32X, and then we have 32 times 2.32. Okay, remember, no calculators. 32 and 2.32. Okay, you might be asking, Mrs. Martin, why did you write the 232 on top? Well, because when I stack and multiply, I'm only going to have two rows of things to add. If I put that on the bottom, if I put this on the bottom, then I would have 3. So that's why I put the bigger one on top. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, 0. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6. 4 plus 0 is 4, 6 and 6 is 12, 9 and 5 is 14, 6 and 1 is 7, and there's 2 numbers behind the decimal place, so there's 2 in my answer. So we have 74.24 and 114.24. See, look, digits doesn't hate us, or Pearson doesn't hate us. It's giving us the same decimals when we subtract. I know I'm going to get an even dollar sign right there. Okay, so we distributed, check. Combine like terms, I can't combine 74.24 and X, and I can't really combine 74.24 and 114.24 because they're on opposite sides of the equal sign right now. So we're going to check that off, because if I could do it, I'd do it, but I can't, so we're not going to. Okay, next is add slash subtract. Well, here's adding 74.24, so the opposite of that would be to subtract 74.24 from there, and we're going to get 0. And then we're going to subtract 74.24 from over there as well. 24 minus 24 is 0. 4 minus 4 is also 0. 11 minus 7 is 4, so we get 40. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. This should be where the subtracting is. So I'm just going to write this down here. $40 is what we get after we subtract, and we're left with 32x or 32x right there. I'm going to write it down there because I don't like how they've arranged it. The opposite of now we've added or subtracted. Now we need to multiply or divide. This is 32 times x. Remember, that's what we did to get it right here, 32 times x. So the opposite of multiplying by 32 is to divide by 32, and we get 1, which is why we have 1x down there. and then 40 divided by 32. We would have how many 32s go into 40, and we would say 1, and it's 32, and then we would get 8, 0. Bring down the 0. We got to put our decimal up there because now we're past the decimal. How many 32s in 82? Maybe, and it's 64. 80 minus 64 is going to be 16. 160. Okay, bring down another 0. 32s and 160. Well, 10 would be 320, so let's try 5. So I'm going to write 5 here. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 160, so 5 even. 125. The original price of the figurines was $1.25. All right. Can the equation 32x plus 232 equals 114 equals 0.24 be used to find the original cost of each figurine in the problem above? Can this, I get it. Okay, can this equation be used? Would we get the same answer? Okay, well, if we go to this step where we had 32x, we would just say, well, did we have this? We knew we had this because that's been there the whole time. Did we get 232? We didn't. We had 74.24. So we're going to say no. And why? Well, because that 232, the 232 was for one toy, not 32 toys. Okay, that's why it wouldn't work, because that was for each toy, not all of them collectively. All right, again, like I said in the last one, if you're not ready for me to erase this, pause it, write it down, finish writing it, and then play it again. So let's erase my screen so I can get moving on. Oh, I think, yep, my finger jumped. So it doesn't count as a closed circle. Erase all this. All right, example 2. Solve the equation negative 5s plus 30 equals negative 17. Okay, we don't need to write a fancy equation and turn words into things and whatnot. So we're going to, first thing we're going to do, remember, don't call after midnight. So first step is to distribute. So negative 5 times s, right? This is distribute, multiply, boop, boop. Negative 5 times s is negative 5s. Negative 5 times 30, well, it's going to be negative because the signs are different. And 5 times 3 is 15, and we just add that 0 on the end equals 17. Okay? So we have negative 5s minus 50 equals, so we did distribute. There's nothing to combine, so we can check that one off since we don't have to do it. Okay, next step is add or subtract. So we're subtracting 50 here, so we're going to add 150 to get it away from there and to get it over there. And then our third step, I guess, equation is going to be negative 5s equals, okay, well, 17 minus 150, or negative 17 plus 150, I know is going to be positive because 150 is bigger than 17, and then we can reverse them like this. So 150 minus 10 would be 140, minus 7 more would be 133, or you can borrow 4, 10. 10 minus 7 is 3, 4 minus 1 is 3, 1 minus 0 is 1. So we got 133. Then we look at what we have to do to both sides, right? Keep it equal, but get it to say s equals. Well, this is, right, remember up here, we did negative 5 times s, so the opposite of multiplying by negative 5 would be to divide by negative 5. And 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then we're going to have to divide this by -5 as well, because whatever we do to the left, we do to the right. Whatever we do to the right, we do to the left. And our last is going to be S equals, and we have 133 and 5, and my answer is going to be negative because my signs are different. So we have 5 into 10, it doesn't. 5 into 13 is twice. It's 10, 3, 3. 5 into 33 is 6, and it's 30. 3, 5 into 30 is 6. So 133 divided by 5 is going to be, our decimal's right there because I had to bring down this 0. That's when we got to the end of the number. 26.6. Okay, S equals -26.6. To check and see if you're right, we could substitute that in to the original equation. We could go -26.6 plus 30 equals -17. Okay, we could do that. So we can solve the parentheses here. -26.6 plus 30 is going to be positive something, and then subtract them and multiply them by 5. See if you get 17. All right, so that's solving equations. Just start with doing the opposite. Distribute, don't call after midnight. Distribute, combine, add, subtract, multiply, divide, get the equation to say equals a letter.